With Antonio Brown.
He's a really, really, really good receiver, and he's something that, Ben looks to. And the big thing is that you'll never, ever, ever take him away, but you just try to minimize. We did a pretty good job of that last year. Had quite a few catches, but minimized the effect, and except for a couple plays. And he makes those 2 plays on you, and it puts points on the board. So you're always in that dilemma of trying to minimize.
Deal with him
and Juju at the same time.
Juju's come on. He really has. And, last year he was, learning the game. And now that also puts a threat, spreads us out a little bit more. We hopefully we'll be able to force them to do some things where we want them to throw it. But those are 2 big-time players, and they're on our list that we've got to make sure we minimize.
How do you feel about Denzel Ward and Terrence Mitchell?
Those guys have come a long ways. They deserve the opportunity to play, and they deserve the opportunity to produce. And they've had a good preseason. They've had a good training camp. They've had a good preseason games, but now they're playing for real. So the production will tell.
You mentioned a couple of plays that Antonio made last year. When we talked to Myles earlier in the week, he thought that his presence this year might be able to change those type of plays because Ben wouldn't have as much time.
Both of those plays were a little bit of a time constraint, you're right, and one of them was an error on our part where we did not contain the pocket when he threw that punt. He just kind of threw it up for grabs, and that still haunts me in respect that should have been our ball too, but Ben should have never got out of the pocket, and we had an error on how we contained the pocket. Myles had a really good camp. I'm anxious to see him play. He's healthier now than he has been since he's been a Cleveland Brown. So it'll be good to see him play.
Greg, I know it's the other side of the ball, but when you look at Desmond Harrison out there, who's going to get the start at left tackle, what are you seeing?
He comes a long way, and the big thing about those guys is, and I think I don't want to put words in their mouth, but I think they feel like they're getting a lot of work every day having to play against Myles. And Myles helps train them. Myles can do some things in practice that other guys can't do that you would be surprised about in a game. Well, there's no surprises now. You see it in practice. And so coaches get a chance to correct. Coaches get a chance to help because of some of the things he can do.
Specifically getting off the ball and just
that and just his whole power and his movement and his reactions, and Myles is rare in that, in that burst area and that strength area. So, he doesn't have to finesse you. He can do the power part of it too. And so he has a good combination of things and a lot of different ways that people were going to play throughout the whole year. They're going to see out of him in one day.
It seems like across the board there's just more versatility on your defense.
There is. I think we've done a good job with on increasing that versatility, and then how we go about packaging that. Yes. And the big thing is having the healthy group of guys going into the game, and we're healthier going into this game this year than we were last year, yes.
Healthier with more guys, more talent on the defense, just year 2 for you. Do you coach this defense any differently than you coached last year's defense, or you've been in the league a long time? Do you just
production tells, and what we do is I was never, and I said this last year, I haven't been harder on a group of guys than I were the group of guys last year. And they didn't flinch. I'm talking about hard from demands of focus, attention, detail, toughness, effort, all that stuff. And so this has been very good this year because they already understand that. And there's already a good understanding of that. And the guys that are here that were there last year have helped spread the word with the new guys this year. It's been a culture shock for the new guys this year. They haven't been places that have been that demanding or have had a coach that demanding on them. And they bought in very well. They really have. And we've had some very good fellowship moments, some very good chemistry moments. There's a good camaraderie of that group of guys. They like being around each other. They trust each other. Now it's about going out and playing.
Is it too early to have Denzel Ward follow a guy like Antonio Brown?
Right now is that getting him ready just to play in the first NFL game. There'll be times when we'll do that, and there'll be times we won't. But he's getting him to take the steps that needs to be taken to play at this level. He had a really good practice today, and it was fun to see him competing and how far he's come in a short amount of time. But you can't picture the regular season game until you're in it. preseason speeds is one thing. Training camp speed is another thing. Okay, now regular season, and then again, fortunate to ever get in the playoffs and have been in there a lot of times too. It takes another step. So he's got to take the next step right now of regular season speed, and I'm anxious to see him do it.
When you talk to these guys about Ben, what are the key points, Big Ben?
Yeah, he's very smart, and he understands how to get the ball out of his hand quickly. He understands a lot of things about coverage dynamics. There's not a whole lot of things that you can confuse him with. You just have to be able to produce with, meaning that is that you have to win your matchups.
The personnel changes, obviously Dorsey made a lot of moves. Do you anticipate that allowing you to do more of what you would like to do ideally, like in terms of style and approach? That maybe
Each and every year, and that's a good question. Each and every year, I adapt the style to the players we have. And, one of the things is that the good coaches do that in a game. All of a sudden, a guy goes down in a game, and the next guy that comes up can't do that. So why would I continue to do that? Because I like it and he can't do it? No. So, each group of guys that takes the field is that it's my job to try to pattern and do the things right for them and not try to put them in as few of unusual or uncomfortable positions as I can. Okay, can't do it all. Okay, it's inside the white lines, they've got to play. But we adapt to that, and I think have done that for a long time now, and adapting to the personnel that's out there.
How big a difference is not having Le'Veon Bell for them?
I think Connor's really done well in the preseason of taking a look at that. And, as you take a look at the other times that they have the other backs coming in there, it may be, a two-headed or three-headed monster, whoever the backs they dress, instead of Le'Veon just taking all of them. But we're used to doing that. We're used to seeing that. So we've just got to adapt to whoever they play.
Jabril was really hard on himself last year. And kind of looking back, when you watched last year, he was hard on himself. Have you seen him come back kind of? I mean, what do you think he learned from that
Said
experience?
Jabril? Yeah, that's the competitive part of it. You should be that way. All of us, I'm hard on myself, everybody that comes in here every day. And that's the fun part of having those kinds of people. You should see Myles, Kirksey, Jamie Collins, Schobert, all those guys are that way. That's why Jabril's respected in the room for a young guy, because he acts like an old guy.
You addressed this before, but why last year was that the hardest you've ever been?
There was just a thing from a culture standpoint, maybe just all of a sudden from a youth standpoint, and not accepting excuses standpoint. Everybody's got an excuse. I don't want to hear them. Okay, it's about going out and doing your job.
How much has that changed this year?
A lot. It's been very well. Been very good. Been very good.
Did you, I don't know if ease up is the right word, but did you back off because you saw the change?
No, what I did is I brought up the points of with leadership in the room, and to be quite truthfully, I have a smile on my face, is that when we started training camp, I said, that guy's still inside me if you guys want him to come out. So, but I also, and that's a test, and so I watched the leadership in the room take form. And leadership is actions first, voice second. And the leadership was really good in the room. And that person, this hard person, has come out a few times here this training camp, but not as much as it did last year, because the leadership is better.
Speaking of that, Myles was voted a captain.
Mm-hmm.
How have you seen him grow in that way?
Outstanding. And again, you don't become a captain because of what you're saying. It's because of what you're doing. And it's your everyday focus. It's your everyday habits. It's your everyday work. And he's done outstanding. I'm very proud of that.
Loss, having to cut Michael Hendricks, did that change the number of personnel packages you planned on using?
He was involved in really a couple of the same ones we were going to use anyway. So really, no. All right. Yeah.
I know you've been on Hard Knocks before, but what kind of feedback did you get this time around?
I will tell you this, is that those people work so hard, and you guys do too. And it's amazing. because I've been on it twice now, to see how hard they work behind the scenes. I've never seen an episode. I've never watched it because we're busy working, you know, and we're in 20-hour days during training camp. There's no rest. There's no days off and stuff. But evidently, I've said a couple of things, and so I've gotten some shipments of lozenges. I've gotten some dad apparel hats with some sayings, you know, that I can't repeat over the microphone right now, that where they've put some sayings I've had on some hats. Evidently, I said something about waking up and paying attention, maybe with a few adjectives. And I got some organic coffee sent. But there was a while there where there was a shipment about every other day of something coming in. I said, well, you know, maybe I need to start talking about some alcohol or start talking about something nicer and get some nicer gifts this way. But it's been fun in that respect. You know, I do respect those people a lot, and have really kind of developed some friendships for life on some of those people on how hard they work. Okay. Say it again.
Does it feel invasive at all to you when they're here?
It probably would to other people, but it doesn't to me. You know, I am who I am, and I'm not going to change that aspect of it. So, you know, and I thought our head coach did a great job. I thought the players did a good job too. So no, it's not. And, you know, anymore, everything we do in life is out there. You know, it's out there when you're in public, on game day and all that stuff. And there's nothing that's hidden. So really you got to be who you are, and otherwise you appear to be phony. And I'm not going to be that with the players, because the players can smell that faster than anything.